In Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too,
So
buddy.
it's the least. Oh, wow, what a
Happy
level
New
of. There we go.
Year!
Okay, thanks
Happy
very much.
New Year!
That's great. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm tired. I'm a bit tired,
Why are you tired, Richard? Is it because you stayed up until
man.
1 minute past 12?
About half one. Sorry, I'm actually yawning. Yeah. So we were
Well,
just saying off air, weren't we, about New Year's, and I suppose it's expected that you have to stay up late, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I think this year is actually different. I don't know. Like I was saying before, I don't know if it's because of my age and the age of the people that I know, because everyone's old like me now. They all
mm,
aged at the same time. Um, but I feel like this year is different. I think it might be something related to the the slow burn effect of COVID. Um, I think people still have that in their minds, that because we lost a year or maybe a couple of years, you could say there. And I think it's taken quite a while for things to get back to normal, whatever that means. And I in my circle, I just see people not really that interested in things as much as they used to be. I don't know if you see that.
yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing. Like, our eldest Millie, she went out to a house party with her boyfriend. He's a confident young man. I
Ha!
wonder if he'll be listening. Uh, but yeah, and they all just like got hammered and sort of stayed up all night and whatever. But like for me, New Year's, other than Millennium, has always been a massive letdown.
Oh
I
my
think.
God, the Millennium was absolutely shite for me. We went into London. Terrible
Mm,
idea. Like that was
yeah.
literally the busiest time possibly in history in London. Just
Mm,
everybody went to go and see the Millennium come in. We thought that planes were going to be falling out of the sky because of that weird thing with the clocks and all that rubbish.
Y2K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just awful. We were like 17, 18 years old,
Mm.
and we managed to get one bottle of beer between like five of us, and we couldn't get into anywhere else to get more, and we were just crushed in this crowd. We didn't get to the side of the river, to the side of the Thames, so we just heard the fireworks going off instead of watching them. It was just like the most pointless experience. Just went to the city, got crushed, listened to some fireworks, and then couldn't get home, so we had to sleep in
Uh,
King's Cross Station. Awful.
Mine was good, Millennium. I worked at a golf club at the time. I was a barman, and Gary McAllister of Coventry fame, he used to come in. But because no one wanted to work Millennium, they offered £40 an hour. So I worked until 1 o'clock. I did like 6 hour shift, came out with loads of cash, and then went to the local nightclub, Echoes. I'm not
Ah,
sure if
I've
you've
been there.
ever have you? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awful. Uh, and just blew a load of cash uh, on some bitches, which,
Is that what they
which
call
is
them?
that's what you did in 2000. It was acceptable then.
I mean, people often ask, well, what's your best memory? What's your best one? I don't have a single New Year's Eve that I can remember that I enjoyed. To be perfectly honest, I think it's one of the most overrated days of the year. There's an enormous amount of pressure to have a good time, have a good night. Everything's more expensive. Everything's busier. Um,
Yeah.
I think a house party is probably a good idea. That's probably the best option because you don't really have to worry about location so much. And
Mm.
if you're with a group of people, everybody wants different things, and they always want to move around or whatever. I don't know. It's just too complicated. And I think that films, like we said in other episodes, films like Bridget Jones and all of those Christmas and New Year's themed films have given everyone unrealistic expectations of what it's going to be like. Everyone thinks they're going to meet the woman or the man of their dreams and they're going to kiss under the. It's just bullshit. It's just
You're
not.
so
I
miserable.
hate it. I think it should be cancelled. It should be banned. People should stay at home. They should go to bed at 11:59 and not set off fireworks.
Well, we had quite a nice night. I cooked dinner, and Oh, you know what we did do? We made the website for our wedding,
Oh,
uh, and ordered invites, which was very exciting. Um,
you have a
I'm now just
website for your wedding?
Yeah, that's how you do it in the modern
Is
day,
it?
apparently.
My
Yeah, and people
goodness.
can RSVP on the website, which
Hmm.
is exciting. And yeah, it's funny these websites. Um, it, like it was very American, this template that we had, and it made me question whether I was in love enough
Yeah.
because like, all these stories and stuff that people put on, but then we sort of both decided that it was just a little
Hmm.
unnecessary and a time. That's basically all that needs to go on there. But no, so that was quite good fun. And then we stayed up till midnight, well, till gone midnight, and we watched Jules Holland, which is a bit of a tradition, I suppose. And that was nice.
That's
And then,
supposed to be a sign of age, the hootenanny. If you give
is
in and
it?
do the hootenanny, yeah, that means you're officially old.
Oh, I've been doing that for
Yeah,
years.
me too, actually.
Yeah.
I gave up a long time ago. I'm not going to pursue these unrealistic dreams of having a Hollywood New Year's Eve. It's ridiculous. I just add one more thing. They always live in really expensive apartments in central London, and that annoys me. And they go to these parties, and it's like this girl who works in a florist's, and she's just got this enormous apartment that she's adorned with chili lights, and there's loads of beers in a bathtub full of ice and all of this middle class bullshit. It's like, come on, man, doesn't it? That's not real. I mean, I know it's a film, but it's also
Mm.
not real. Um, anyway, moving on. Instead of looking forwards, let's look backwards for a moment, shall we? 2023 coming to an end has come to an end.
Yeah.
Let's reflect on all of the wonderful, amazing, interesting, and strange things that took place. Do you want to throw your hat into the ring? What are you going to take us back to that happened in 2023?
Uh, can I start with my favourite book of 2023, which was Prince Harry and his memoir Spare,
Oh yeah,
which was
spare part.
released.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it's just called Spare, but yeah, like as in a spare part. He's got a lovely ginger beard on the front cover.
I've not used that image. I actually went to Midjourney and asked AI to make a cartoon version of his face. I don't know why. I was just a bit bored, but I don't know if you can see that. I think it looks pretty good.
I'm sure it was
There you go. There's an
Ah,
example of one of the jobs that's going to be replaced in 2024 is those street cartoonists, because you can just do it with AI now.
do it on your phone.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this was released in January at the start of 23. So I thought that was quite a good one to start with. To be honest, I've read like bits of it. I somehow ended up with like a PDF copy the day after it came out, which was weird. I'm not really sure how I found it. I can't remember. Um, but I think it was the start of something with the royal family, wasn't it? Because obviously the Queen was dead, uh, and then King Charles had like taken over, but not officially. Um, and Harry had sort of quit the royal family. Um, and I just think this was the first time that the royal family allowed us peasants a bit of a look into their family and some of the stuff that goes on. Have you read any of it? Have you
No,
heard anything
it's.
about it?
I'll be honest. I'm kind of ignorant about the situation in the UK because obviously I live in Spain now, and I think I've kind of got my finger off the pulse. What's how? Because people ask me all the time, and I say I don't really know. But how do people feel about the situation with him and Meghan in the UK?
Well, they still make the news quite a bit. There's always like rumors of them breaking up. Um, I don't, I don't know how true that is. She kind of fucked up recently. She went to who's the dude out of the Pogues? Sorry, he's just
Shane
died.
McGowan.
Yeah, she rocked up at his funeral, and
What?
yeah, for no real reason. And I believe Johnny Depp booted her out, which
Huh?
is a story. I think she was in Ireland making this Netflix documentary
You see,
and thought,
okay,
"Oh,
yeah.
I'm super famous. I like that
I, I
song."
I feel like, I mean, this is certainly the perception in Spain. Anyway, this is why people keep asking me about it. But the perception is that nobody really understands what they want as a couple, because um, they understood here that they were moving away to get out of the limelight, and the whole complaint was that they were being hounded by the media, which is probably true to some extent. But they then made a Netflix series and did a series of interviews like with Oprah, and it seems like
Mm,
they're constantly doing the opposite. They said, "Please leave us in peace," and then that now they're always trying to get attention. Like I imagine that she only went to that funeral just because it's a high profile funeral.
yeah,
Like, did she even know
yeah.
Shane McGowan? Like, what?
No,
She
they'd
just
never
turned
met.
up.
They'd never met. But I think she liked that Fairy Tale in New York song, so figured she'd get in. Do you want to play a little game?
This
I'm
sounds a little bit like a horror movie. What are you gonna put
well.
my head in a
There's
bear trap?
there's some quite good stories in the in Harry's book, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and you have to guess uh, what the missing bit is. So what am I talking about?
Okay, right, yeah.
Okay, you ready? So this is a direct quote. My blank was a matter of public record and indeed some public curiosity. The press had written about it extensively. There were countless stories in books and papers, and Willie and me not being blank. Mummy had forbidden it.
Um, my Nazi uniform,
No.
my
It,
legitimacy as a child of the royal family, my
no,
legitimacy.
no. My penis was
Uh,
public, was a matter of public.
I do know about this. He doesn't he keep mentioning his penis. I haven't read any of the book, but I have seen one extract.
I
Um,
think it's basically the main character is his penis, and this is him talking about him and Willie,
yeah.
not to be confused with his penis. That's his brother, who may or may not be a massive penis,
Hmm.
but not being circumcised because Princess Di didn't want him to. Um, yeah,
Well,
but
why would they
apparently,
be circumcised? They're
well,
Christian,
he
aren't they?
go well, he goes on to then reveal that he was snipped as a baby. So, for the
Jesus.
whatever reason, they are circumcised, but he just wanted to clear up that that pressing matter
Yeah, I've been
of
wondering about
national
that for years.
interest.
His foreskin has been on my mind for decades. Very relieving to finally know the truth about
Yeah,
Harry's penis.
yeah. There's a bit more penis stuff about once it got frostbitten, and this was the day before Wills's wedding. He got a frostbitten todger, and yeah, he had to sit through the wedding with a frostbitten winky.
The one extract that I read was about him putting some ointment on his knob, and
Yeah,
he had like a flashback to his mum, and it's super
yeah.
weird and creepy. Like, I don't know what was going through his mind when he was thinking, "Oh, the people are really going to enjoy this moment of nostalgia with Mama and I." But he's just rubbing ointment on his dick and thinking about his mum. Doesn't add up, mate. Like, there's no way
It
that
is
you
a
can. Go on.
it was a brand of a like moisturizer that his mum used to
Doesn't
use.
matter. Doesn't matter.
And, yeah,
You
I
don't
know,
do
but
that.
like, I mean, there's glimpses into the royal family, and then there's maybe a little bit too much. What does King Charles take with him everywhere, even nowadays?
Um, Heroin.
No, it's his teddy bear
Oh,
uh, that he got as a child, and he got it when he was quite ill, apparently, and so he's kept it forever because he thinks it's good luck and makes him alive. I don't know. Yeah.
dear, oh dear.
Uh, yeah. He also revealed he'd never hugged the Queen, which I don't know. Like neither have I. Get over it.
Yeah, I've not hugged the Queen.
Charles does handstands in his boxers to relieve chronic back and neck pain. That was another one. Yeah, it's just I
Charles.
think
Did you say Charles does?
King Charles does handstands in his
No, he
pants.
doesn't. Does he?
Yeah.
Maybe 20 years ago. Have you seen the state of his hands? They've all got gout because they're constantly eating and drinking rich foods and drinks. He's
Hey,
got these
hey,
sausage fingers.
anyone can get gout.
Oh
Just
yeah, I
say.
forgot you had gout.
Yeah.
But you can. I think it's pretty difficult to do a handstand if you've got gouty hands.
Yeah, maybe. If there was a well, I think we'll come on to that later. But yeah, them big sausage fingers. That was a bit weird. He once drank a load of booze out of a prosthetic leg, um, and he says he's done that more than once,
That's the
which
most
is
normal thing that I've heard so far. Because I mean, that's the kind of thing that you've. I imagine you've probably done that a few times.
uh, I'm not sure.
I've done a few
Probably. Yeah.
shoeys. You must have done a shoey.
Oh yeah, done a shoey. Done a shoey.
Who hasn't
I'm
done
just
a
trying to
shoey?
think if I know anyone that has a prosthetic limb. Not
I
anymore.
think I'd junk out of a bedpan.
Oh, that's kind of gross.
It is kind of gross. I mean, I don't think there was anything in it. I didn't check beforehand, but um, I'm alive. I think these are normal things. I suppose, but one of the elements of the book, or what's the objective of the book, to make him more appealing to the general public and to make him appear
I think
human.
so. I think there's an element of he just wants to be a man of the people. For example, he reveals that he loves going shopping at TK Maxx. Uh,
What?
uh,
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Why would he say that? He doesn't. There's no way the Prince of England goes shopping. They don't go shopping. He doesn't have to buy anything.
but
They don't pay for things. Do you really think that he's going to turn up at the counter in TK Maxx and they're going to say cash or card? And he's going to get. I bet he doesn't even have a credit card or a debit card.
well,
That's
maybe
what
he does now.
nonsense.
I don't know. But in a couple of pages after that, just to keep it, you know, down with the street or whatever. He talks about how he spoke to a toilet whilst he was at Courtney Cox's house and high on mushrooms, and
Oh
he
my
ended up
God.
talking to a toilet for several hours, which is something everyone does. He also he borrowed a Tom Hardy's costume from Mad Max for a Halloween party, which is like
He
I don't
just
know. I don't know how you do that.
he sounds to me like an absolute pain in the ass. It's like one of those, like the kid at school who's the little brother of the really hard guy, and like he just gets to do whatever he wants and nobody can say anything. You imagine him like stealing Tom Hardy's costume from Mad Max. I mean, what's if you don't want him to do that? What are you gonna? The prince of or one of the princes of England. You're not going to say Harry, don't do that, and give him a slap. Um,
One one of the all-time best lines out of the entire book is he compares himself to Stewie Griffin from
yeah,
Family Guy,
yeah.
and he says, "I felt an inexplicable bond with Stewie. We're both prophets without honor." What the fuck?
What does
What
that
does it
mean?
even mean?
He's just
Yeah,
picked like a random cultural series that people are familiar with, and so he could have that could have been anyone. He could have said, "Oh, I really resonate with Mr. Bean because he's obviously like the version of the general public that like how he perceives the general public because he's so out of touch. He doesn't spend time with normal people. I see this book as just kind of a commentary on what he thinks ordinary people are like. Oh yeah, we all go to TK Maxx and watch Family Guy and do mushrooms and have conversations with toilets. Shut up, man. None of this stuff happened. I don't believe a single word except for the bits about him rubbing his penis and yeah, his strange relationship with his relatives. Hey, is there any like kind of more Surely people wanted to know, like, what happens inside Buckingham Palace? What happens inside the royal family? That's what people are interested in. I mean, people come from all over the world to look at those buildings. Can't he tell us some interesting stuff about, like, secret passages? And there must be like a cocaine room or something somewhere in Buckingham Palace.
I, 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 I don't remember anything like that. I don't think he gave. It's a weird book, man, because he gives
Yeah.
away a lot, but he doesn't give away any sort of real interesting secrets. He talks about one time him and Will had a fight, and Will knocked him out uh, with a dog bowl. He, yeah, yeah. Uh, the idea, the title of the book. Do you know where that comes from? This has got to be a bit
Hmm.
harsh, man. Um, his dad, the king now, supposedly told Diana, "Wonderful, now you've given me an heir and a spare. Your
Yeah.
work is done."
Yeah.
Yeah, which is Jesus. That sounds. Yeah, you're gonna have some issues with that.
I
He
just,
reveals.
it's just
Go
really
on.
difficult to feel sorry for somebody who grew up in a fucking palace, you know? Like,
Yeah,
an heir and a
I really think
spare.
he could. I really think he could have done better. I think he's really associated himself with James Corden, who I used to like, but since James Corden went to the US, everyone in the UK hates him now. He's just become like this caricature of himself, I think. And for whatever reason, he's coming back. But I think Harry being mates with him really hasn't helped him.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. But anyway, if you like the magazines that you get in the dentist or the doctor's waiting room, and they've normally
Yeah.
got Jordan on the front, falling out of a nightclub or something, or someone out of Towie. If you like those magazines, this is like a 430-page version of one of them. So you might like that book. Um,
Brilliant.
but I'm sort of bored of it now, so let's move on.
Yeah, I'm sick of looking at his ginger mug. So, just in conclusion, um, the public in the UK aren't really buying his bullshit. I mean, they're
I
buying
don't
his
think
book.
so.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Netflix thing comes out this year, and also, well, yeah, this year, sorry, and last year he became the first royal to testify in a court case. I think,
Hmm.
or the first prince in that tabloid thing, where he was suing the papers. Um, so I don't know. We'll see what happens this year. They seem all right, man. I mean, they seem as nice as any of the other royals, I guess. Uh, yeah. Would you want him as king? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if people really care about that as much as they used to. I think things have changed a lot with the death of the Queen, because the Queen had an international reputation, a global reputation, and I don't think anyone's ever going to be able to replicate that. So
No.
it's a different era for the royal family now. Generationally, I think that most people would have liked Will to be the next in line.
Mm,
People ask me about it a lot, like, because I live in Spain, and they're kind of fascinated. It's like a soap opera for most people abroad. Um, but the strange thing is they don't know anything about Charles, but everybody recognises the Queen. Like, people will come from Asia to visit the UK just to go and kind of experience all of that stuff. That it has an international reach, or it had an international reach. I don't think it does anymore. I don't think that Charles has the same influence.
yeah. Well, he's been king for like a year now, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you anything he's done. Uh,
Did you watch the speech on Christmas Day?
no,
Yeah. See, my
no,
family would always watch the Queen's speech, but I don't think they bothered with the King's speech. So
no.
I think there's quite an obvious disconnect
Mm,
nowadays, which is why all of this stuff is happening. These books and all TV series and everything, and just all of the drama. It's funny how I mean, it's obvious why we're focusing on that and not on all of the other stuff that's been going on in the royal family and the allegations. and the
Oh yeah.
inability to sweat and all of that stuff. Um,
And yeah, never mind TK Maxx. Oh yes, I was eating in Pizza Hut
yeah,
that
come
night.
on, man.
Arsehole.
Unbelievable. It's literally just like what would an ordinary person do? Oh yes, I was in Weatherspoons sinking a delicious pint of ale. It's like this is a caricature of ordinary people.
I was there for their curry and a pint tonight.
What do the proles do? Um, yeah. Anyway, moving on from that entirely, because there's a lot of stuff that happened in 2023, and this is just a mere blip. I want to talk briefly about Elon Musk.
Oh,
He's been
yes.
involved in all kinds of stuff this year, but I'm specifically going to focus on what's going on with one of his not his private companies, but one of his companies that is not. He funds it and he owns it, but he doesn't manage it. So you know, all of his companies he names in some way X, like SpaceX, like Twitter, which is now X. That happened. All of that stuff happened in
Yeah.
2023. But he also has a company called Neuralink. Have you ever heard of Neuralink?
No, but I'm guessing it's AI related and
Yeah, kind of. And so
like the
Neuralink,
Matrix.
man, look, if anything's going to worry you about the future and the intentions of Elon Musk, because Elon Musk, I think, has quite a relatively well managed public image and public
Hmm.
persona. Some people hate him, obviously, and other people like him. And mostly, I think it's because he speaks in a very unfiltered manner.
Yeah.
But also um, he presents himself as the kind of they call them what are they technocrats.
Hmm.
He presents himself as a kind of alternative to Bill Gates. Bill Gates has a very poor public image, especially in relation to his connection with everything around COVID and all that stuff. And people kind of there's a lot of negative stories about how he took over businesses and bankrupt people and all of this stuff. And Elon Musk is kind of presented as the good guy of technology. However, he is at the end of the day a businessman, and in my opinion, this Neuralink project is an example of how they are all out for themselves, and God only knows what they've got planned for the future. So Neuralink is a company that creates chips that are installed in your brain. The original project was to help paraplegics to regain the functionality of their limbs.
Hmm.
Either they'd like had an accident or they've been born with some condition. That's the intention, but there's a lot of other stuff that's happening around it that is very strange. And you have to ask the question, what is the true intention of putting a chip in someone's brain? Well, what do you think? One of the things that they've been doing is teaching monkeys how to play Pong using their thoughts. So they,
Finally,
I know,
finally, someone's done it.
that's what we've all been waiting for. Thank God. In 2023, the reason I mention it is because they've been working for I think they've been around for a few years, for maybe 3 or 5 years. But in on May the 25th of 2023, the FDA approved the brain implants for humans. So that was the biggest barrier. It was whether or not they were going to be permitted to do these tests and to install chips in human brains. And the FDA, which is Food and Drug Administration, I should say, in US, has said, yeah, go on, you can do the first in-human clinical trials. And it's kind of a leap forwards in what I believe is going to be the defining aspect of 2024, which is biotechnology. We've already seen a lot of biotech appearing step by step, but this is about the like what happens next with technology. We've kind of reached the limit with like capacitors and memory and all of that stuff, and the next step is to integrate tech with the human body, and that's what I think this is going to be. That basically just the first step in that. It's terrifying and interesting at the same time. I think like you can't, like you wouldn't be able to not be a part of it. You know what I mean? Like if
I'm down
there's,
for it, man.
I thought you might be. I don't like the
Yeah.
idea of having tech, like because it's like they always introduce these things with the best intentions. Like I say, it's to help people who can't use their limbs have access to limbs. It's like, yeah, okay, you put and ordinary people end up with a chip in their brain, and suddenly, Bill Gates is controlling your mind and making you walk into an Apple store. Oh no, he's not Apple, is he? He's Microsoft. Making you
Yeah.
walk into a Microsoft store and buy all of his products or whatever. I don't think it's a good idea to have a chip in your brain. As if it can't be controlled remotely. Of course it can.
I'd start with one in my hand
Oh,
for
they've
like.
they've already done that.
Yeah, I think they're doing some of it. Like,
That's in the UK. There's a
really?
yeah. That was the first ever chip implant that goes in your hand that is for payments.
Yeah.
It's a Polish British company. I did a class on this a while back. I can't remember what they're called. I have to look that up. But there was a guy. In fact, that was in 2022, I think. There was a guy in the UK who was going into like petrol stations and scanning his hand over the card reader, and he did like a
Sweet.
load of viral videos of him paying with his hand.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
have that 100%, and I'd start with that. Then, yeah, I'd probably get some sort of exoskeleton suit that would make me faster and stronger, and I'd see how that goes for a bit. Uh, and if that all goes well, I'll have the chip in my brain because, like, well, because I, yeah, and I'm really impatient, and if I could just download stuff
Yeah.
like on the Matrix, run that kung fu program, and I'm a fucking ninja then, or I can like play piano. That'd be nice. I'd love all
Exactly.
that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will have a choice because if you don't want to have that chip, you're basically not participating in everybody else becoming more uh, skilled or powerful or
Oh
intelligent or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I suppose if you don't have it, you get left behind, don't
Well,
you?
yeah, you
And
just
the
be
big
yeah,
becomes a big inequality between classes again. Maybe,
exactly. There'd be all
maybe
this
that. Yeah. So like the
this
rich people are all like super strong and can jump over buildings, and then us poor people have to sort
go
of
to TK Maxx and
yeah
Pizza
put
Hut and this.
or in TK Maxx, but like 10 years later, the old tech will be in TK Maxx, and we'll be able to do some things, but then the rich people will be able to do better things. Yeah,
Well, of course. I
I'm
mean,
not.
that's how it always works. That any technology that they first, it comes out and it's only accessible to the people who can afford it. And then
Mm,
once they've established a market, they bring the prices down so other people can afford it. But you always get the lower tier. There's the top tier is always not available to the common man. Um,
no, there'll be like a competition to win something, wouldn't there? Like
mm.
boost your IQ 100 points if you guess this. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I'm
can't.
I'm all about human advancement, though. Just going off topic slightly, but still a little bit the same. Like this year, they're going to do an Olympics, but a completely untested, non-drug tested, non-anything tested Olympics, and you can just go and be like juiced up to the eyeballs, or blood doping, or like you can just identify as a woman and no one say anything, and like you're just like a huge 8 foot tall man or whatever. It's just a non-testing Olympics,
Wow.
just to see how far you can go, and their aim is just to break records of the normal
I
Olympics.
mean, I think that is kind of interesting. It is interesting to see how we can perform when we're aided by other things. But isn't it
Mm.
also as interesting to see what the human body can do naturally?
Yeah, but I mean that's the Olympics. That's been around forever, Ben. I've seen that. I'm not bothered about that anymore. I want to see someone do a long jump of like 38 meters. That's impressive. I'd go and watch that.
Yeah, it's just every time that we interfere with nature, it always ends badly. And it's Dr. Faust, isn't it? Is by the way, I've just found the name of that company. I'm just going to drop that image here. Look, it's called Walletmore. I don't know if you can see that. Let me just move it into the middle. But that's the chip. It's absolutely tiny. The name of the company, Walletmore, they're from England and the UK. It goes in between your thumb and your first finger, in that little fleshy part of your hand, between the thumb and the finger. And you can get it installed. This is a strange thing. The places that are licensed to install them are mostly tattoo artists. In fact, there's one here in Zaragoza. You can get it done here in Zaragoza at a tattoo place, because it's the same as doing a piercing. They just make a little incision and then pop it in.
Wow.
But there you go. There's it for your birthday. I could get you one of those. They're not that expensive, actually. How much does it cost? I think it's about 250.
I think
yes, 250 euros.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, where are we going next? Into the future, into the past?
What do you want to do? Do you want to do my resolutions for the year?
Yeah, go on. Tell me, what are your resolutions?
Oh, I've sent you a photo. I can't remember what they are.
You've got to look at them again. Wow, you're taking this really seriously.
Well, I wrote them very late last night. So, yeah. But, well, it's something Sharon does every year, and she's pretty good at keeping hers. So she sort of encouraged me to do mine, which I don't know if you've got the picture there. But
yeah, it's up.
Yeah, there you go. The Scrawlings of a Madman. So Sharon always splits it into three things: do better, be better, and be happy. So these were mine. So my first one is to do better at being kind to people that I don't like.
Why? Why bother?
Yeah, well, that's been my attitude so far. But I don't know. Sometimes at work, I might not get on with someone as well as I do with other people. And so I do have a tendency to either ignore them or put them off ever approaching me by just being mean. So I'm going to try and be kind to them and find some common ground, maybe.
Is it basically behaving more like an adult, so facing up to people that you don't like? The problem is, if you're nice to them, they might want to spend more time with you. You've got to deal with the consequences of attracting people that you don't like into your personal space instead of rejecting them.
Well, this is followed on with number 3 and 4, which are massive contradictions. But anyway, my second one is just do better at talking to Sharon about things.
Hang on a minute. Whose list is this?
This is mine.
Are you sure? This sounds like your fiance has done a therapy on you.
I know.
Was she watching you? Yeah.
She had
looking over your shoulder.
She had a sharp kitchen knife in my ribs. But no, because sometimes I'm just not very good at talking. I think sometimes she feels I talk to you more than I do her, which isn't fair because we never talk about anything important.
No.
But I get why she thinks that, because sometimes I'm not very good at just talking. So that's something I'm going to try and do.
That's
better.
The patriarchy, I reckon.
Probably. And then number 3, boundaries. I'm not... So mine are all quite contradictory now. I'm looking at them again. This was 1 o'clock last night, so I was a bit tired. But I've certainly in the past I've been guilty of being in relationships, whatever form of relationship that is, where I sort of give and give and give and get nothing back. So I'm going to set boundaries where I avoid those relationships. They could be work ones, they could be financial, they could be family, anything. But I'm going to keep those firm boundaries, and then I'm going to be open, which is the opposite of number 3. So I don't drink. I wasn't drunk when I was writing these. But yeah, so they're all a bit vague. What do you think of those? Shall I do those?
Yeah, I think that sounds great. Yeah, yeah, do that. Do all of those. It's going to be quite difficult balancing them, like you say, because they're quite contradictory. But I suppose you'll find a way. Each one of them relates to specific situations, though, don't they? Then it's not like you're saying be open and have boundaries at the same time. It's have
No.
boundaries in specific situations and be open in times when you've often not been open before. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. You just gotta keep this list with you at all times. Maybe get it tattooed onto your forearm,
Oh, I
and
probably will. Yeah, probably.
you got space.
Um, yeah. My be better, they're easier. My mum and dad are dead old. Did I tell you my mum fell down the stairs a few weeks
Yeah,
ago?
you did. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's broken her arm, bless her, and she's 81. And I keep going around with food and stuff. And I love my parents, uh, but they're well annoying. And I let I let them annoy me, and it's probably more something in me than it is them. And also, they're both like 80 something, so they're not going to change, and nor should they have to. So I'm going to spend more time with them and appreciate them a bit more. I'm going to go and see my friends more, which
No, it's not necessary.
you'll you'll be
You don't need to do
disappointed with that. I'm already trying to work out when to come to Zaragoza and ruin your day.
that.
Um, I really think I'm just going to come and not tell you,
Oh my
and
god.
just show up.
I'm just gonna
Uh,
live in perpetual fear. I have to
yeah,
start double locking my door.
yeah. And then I want to be better at enjoying my time with Lily, my daughter. Um, again, I love her very much, but she stresses me out. Like I'm constantly worrying about her choking on grapes, or like burning. I don't know anything. And I think sometimes I concentrate too much on that. It's probably because I don't have a full time or anywhere near full time, so I'm still learning. Um, but yeah, I'd like to get better at that, I think. And then finally, I want to stop rushing. I'll quite often think of something and then go and do it. like,
Hmm.
and often that goes wrong. You know, a good example of this was Sharon got me a drone for my birthday, which
Yeah.
was the other day.
Have you
Thanks for
crashed it?
pointing that out. No, I didn't crash it. I took my time, and
Hmm.
it's the one flying device I've owned that hasn't crashed. Um, so that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm going to try and not rush as much, which I think they're all fairly easy things to do.
Hmm.
Um, and then be happy. I'm going to try and be a bit more romantic sometimes, after the 17, 18 years that me and Sharon have been together. I joke about that. I count it in dog years. It's
Yeah.
actually only 4, but I should let her know how much I appreciate her. So I'll do that. I'm going to do some painting again, Ben. Uh,
Yay! What kind of
so
painting?
just black and white ones of
Screen,
like
yeah, but the screen stuff that you were doing before.
yeah, that stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
weird shit like Yoda taking a shit or
Oh, it's a
whatever.
good idea, man. I think you could potentially combine like some AI stuff with the painting and try and find a way to do some mixed media stuff.
Maybe,
Hmm.
maybe. Uh, yeah, I'll have a think about it. But yeah, I'm going to start doing some more of that this year. Um, I want to go to some wrestling events, mostly because I went to that big one at Wembley. 82,000 people were there, Ben. Who
Oh
was
my goodness.
who who was the coolest guy? Me. Like it's the one time that's ever happened.
That's just a self-proclaimed title, though. I don't think it really works like that. What is it? What is your what are you using to define yourself as the coolest person?
You should have seen these people, Ben. They
I have seen them.
it was like the one time they've been allowed out in 10 years. Everyone was woke.
Those are your
Uh,
peers. They all have blue
yeah,
hair.
yeah, but like, oh man, it was like I started a chant that I used to chant back in the day when one of the female wrestlers came out, which goes, "She's a crack whore. She's a," and I got told to shush and be more respectful. Um, so
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going to wrestling events, and
I don't think they want you to though. Are you
well, no,
going to prove a point? Is this?
yeah, I'm going to convert them back from being so woke and concerned
You're
with.
gonna get
Uh,
cancelled.
yeah, I know, probably. Uh, and then finally, we've got the wedding coming up in August, so I just want to make that amazing for everyone. Apart from you, obviously,
Yeah,
you're my best
obviously,
man.
yeah.
I've got to make it as
It's a horrible
painful as
experience.
possible.
Absolutely, yeah. I've got loads of responsibilities and things.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't involve getting things off of high shelving or anything like that, it can help.
Well, maybe we'll get you some of them bionic legs
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. I might have a chip in my head by then. It'll make my legs grow.
You'll be
But,
like Inspector Gadget by August. That'd be great.
What are your predictions for 2024? This is another thing that always comes with resolutions. I mean, personally, I don't do resolutions. I don't think it's a bad idea at all, but I've always found that it doesn't really work for me. So for me, I don't bother because I feel like I have to do that every month. You know, like I've done enough rotations of the Earth to realise that I'm very bad at keeping to those types of objectives. If they're long term, like over a year, it's better for me if I do a week or 2 weeks or a month. So like with health is one of the best ones. This is what usually happens with people, isn't it? You go to the gym tomorrow and it'll be absolutely rammed for the next couple of weeks, and then everybody gives up. I've done a lot of the self-help stuff as you have, and I always found that the kind of like the analogies, like how do you eat an elephant? You know that one.
Yeah.
So about making your larger goals into smaller, manageable chunks. So I try and approach things like that, and routine as well. This is the problem. I can't do resolutions because if they're so vague, it's like, I don't know, get in shape. So like, what does that mean? Get in shape. I have to have like, okay, I'm gonna go running at 7 o'clock in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It has to be defined in a more kind of routine based way for me. But as I was saying, with resolutions also comes the predictions. So what do you think is going to happen in the next year in technology, economy,
in the world,
environment? Yeah, have you got any things that you think might take place? I was actually pretty spot on. I was quite pleased with myself. The beginning of 2023, I saw ChatGPT on the horizon a couple of months beforehand, and I started talking about that in my classes. So that's going to be, AI is going to be huge in 2023, and that early conversations that I had, everyone was like, "What are you talking about?" And then it was so fast though. By the end of January, everybody was talking about ChatGPT, and that's become a huge. That's the only time I think I've ever been right about anything, and it wasn't something that I could celebrate or anyone would celebrate with me. So I'm trying to think of something for this year.
I'm thinking, 2023, we managed to get away with just one prime minister in the UK.
Yeah, that was an
which is
achievement.
pretty good going for the Tories, but there's going to be an election certainly sometime in 2024.
Yeah, in the
and
US as well.
hoping for a change in government, I think. Did you know Richie Sunak is 5'6"?
Is he?
He's tiny.
He doesn't. He looks. I always thought he was tall. He looks tall.
Yeah, no, I was watching something last night and they were talking about it, and it was, he wears very slim fitting
Yeah,
suits
yeah.
to make himself look taller. But no, he's not
It
tall at all.
works.
Yeah,
Maybe I should get. I need to get some of those suits.
yeah, we'll have a look for a wedding,
I
man.
resent absolutely tiny because I'm 5'6", so
Yeah, okay, sorry.
it's just unnecessary.
He's not as tall as you think. Let's put it that way. So yeah, new government, that'd be good. I'd like this Ukraine Russia thing to finish. I think it has to this year.
I think it already has, isn't it? They've changed the flavour. It's Israel Palestine now. I
Well, yeah, but this is what gets me with the news. Like something's still going on, but then like something else starts going on, and everyone forgets about that first thing. It's a real shame.
Ooh, careful.
Um,
You're
uh,
moving into my conspiracy territory.
yeah, I know. But
It's true though. That's the news cycle. Like we're only supposed to be concerned with the things that we're told to be concerned with. Yeah, Ukraine, Russia, and then Israel Palestine is a perfect example of that. Like it literally, the flags changed. People's profile images changed within
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah,
week. Like
yeah. They
it's
change. I support so and so
exactly.
this week. Yeah,
and and,
yeah. I
and
mean,
that's always been like that, and it always will be like that.
I
So
don't see the Israel Palestine thing ever finishing. You explained that to me once, and it just sounds like a right mess. Seems to go on
it's
forever.
been going on our entire lives. That's always been there. You
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that when you were a kid? That's
yeah,
always
yeah.
the same conflict's been going on for hundreds of years. Like in different manners, like in different representations. But the point is, um, we will be given something else at some point to be concerned about. I suppose there will be. What's going to maybe there'll be another pandemic. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, over here at the minute, the numbers are going right
Well,
back up on the old COVIDs,
yeah.
and yeah, not
The
not not
big
sure
the
how
big
that's
thing
going
I
to go.
think will happen in 2024 that is on the cards that the WF the World Economic Forum has spoken about. And isn't it funny how they already know that it's going to happen before it happens? It's almost as if they're involved. They have spoken about the threat of a huge cyber attack. So this is the thing that's going to take place in either 2024 or 2025. In the to the extent that it will shut down the banking system, and it will shut down, like the electrical grid and all of that stuff. At which point they will introduce the solution to that problem, because the solution is what's being sold, not the problem.
Wow.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on
I,
from that.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Where
Uh,
are we going?
well, I just wanted to talk, just going back to 2023 and what happened. You mentioned Harry. I spoke about Neuralink. I'm just going to mention a couple of other things that happened very quickly. I just run through them super fast because there's so many things that took place, interesting things. No, it's not nearly as interesting as 2020 when everything happened in 2020. You remember that year? It was mental. We had like all of Australia was on fire. COVID arrived, or lockdowns. There like loads of natural disasters. Loads of famous
Yeah.
people died in 2020.
Oh,
The
quite
beginning of
a few
2020.
died
Do you remember
yesterday.
that? David Bowie died.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's so many people that died. It was mental. Really felt apocalyptic. Well, talking about the apocalypse, there was a big wildfire in Canada that turned Chicago and New York into a scene from Blade Runner 2024. 2040, sorry. Do you remember that? That was in June. The wildfire smoke screen
Oh, yeah, that
from
was nuts.
that swept across, and there was like some really weird natural or unnatural phenomenon that were taking place. I saw a video of this Globo guy cycling through New York, like, and this ash was just collecting on his clothing, and then there were these bugs that appeared everywhere that is somehow related to the smoke screen. This guy was just getting covered in bugs while he was cycling down the street. It was weird. There you can see in that image, it was just this orange kind of glow. That was one thing. China, I think it was China. Was it China that? Yeah, China created a fart rocket. Um, that's pretty cool. I've not really. I just got a picture of a rocket to demonstrate what a rocket might look like that's powered by farts that I made on Midjourney. I put fart rocket into Midjourney and it just gave me a rocket. I was hoping it would do like a rocket with an arse on the bottom or something like that, but it didn't. You've got to be quite tricky. You've got to be cunning with Midjourney if you want to do things that it's programmed not to do. But basically, I say it's a fart rocket. It's a rocket that's fueled by methane. So it's a fart rocket. It's a fart rocket.
Yeah.
It's called the Zuku 2 rocket, created by a private space company in China called Landspace. Landspace. I think that's a very conflicting kind of name. It's like a silly made-up name. That
Yeah,
maybe
it's like it's gone through Google Translate too many
Landspace.
times. So.
And that went into orbit. Went into orbit in July. And yeah, they're looking at this kind of fuel as methane farts as being more environmentally friendly, because usually they use kerosene-based fuel, which produces a lot of like waste, residual waste. But methane just kind of burns up, so it doesn't actually produce anything toxic for the environment. So basically, we might be looking at fueling things by farts in 2024. I think that's brilliant.
But with our high protein diet that Matt's
Exactly.
got us
We could.
on,
There's a side hustle right there, like going into
my
using
my
your.
arse is finally worth money after years of trying to sell it.
Exactly. It's for sale again. And I'll just drop one more in before I ask you to give your offering up. The air snake. Air snake. I love this image because, right. So this story is about a woman called Peggy Jones from Texas, Silby in Texas, and she was outside mowing her lawn, which you can see in the image there. She is gesturing towards her lawn. Here is my lawn. And she was out there doing exactly what she's doing there, and suddenly a snake fell out of the sky and wrapped itself around her arm. And then immediately afterwards, a hawk swooped down and and started attacking. I've got a quote from her here. Let's hear straight from Peggy Jones's mouth. The hawk grabbed the snake that was wrapped around my arm and pulled it like he was going to carry it away, she recalled. And when he did, it flung my arm up. The hawk was carrying my arm and the snake with it. Basically, the hawk almost lifted her off the ground with it, trying to get this snake off her arm. And she got because they're big, man. They're really big. She got injured.
Yeah, so is she.
Yeah. She got injured because the talons went into her arm, and she got bitten by the snake as well. It's just a moment, a little slice of chaos. Like I love that, and I love the photo because obviously there's no photographic evidence of it happening. So she's just there like pointing.
I was holding my arm like this.
So I went to Midjourney and asked Midjourney to make an image of it, and it made this kind of classical romantic image. Unfortunately, it's replaced the snake with a piece of rope for some reason, and I don't know what's wrong with that hawk, but look at its leg. It's a weird. It's a weird version. I don't think that the AI is. We're not in any danger of AI taking over like the photographic industry at the moment. Maybe next year. But yeah, that was an interesting little story. Snake from above. And one more. I've got a few more, but I'll just throw one more in. You give something. Well, there was... Oh, right, okay. So on August the 10th, there was a new taxi service that was permitted in San Francisco, California. Two companies were given permission called Cruise and Waymo, and they're the first driverless taxi cabs. So I
don't like it.
It's weird, isn't it? I've got an image of if you can tell me which film this is from. I watched this last night. Surprisingly, it's a great film. You see that?
I'm slightly lagging behind.
Johnny Cab. Johnny Cab.
No, you still can't see it.
It's got the governor.
Is it a picture of a taxi?
It's a picture of a man in a taxi. It's a picture of Quaid in a taxi.
No,
from the film Total Recall. Johnny Cab. The Johnny Cab. But yeah, basically now we've got Johnny Cabs. All of the science fiction films are coming true. And yeah, in San Francisco, there are these two companies that you can hail a taxi or you can order a taxi and it will turn up and there's no driver. I think that's mad. What a
Yeah.
world we live in. Would you
Well,
trust that? Would you get in a taxi with no driver?
you know, I used to be a taxi driver.
What? No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did for one summer, and I was hammered constantly.
Oh my
So,
god.
I, yeah, I think I've taken a lot of people out in what was basically a driverless taxi. Uh, Good old times. um, uh, no, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't trust them. I don't trust that either of those cartoonish-looking men's faces. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Strange times. Oh
mm,
well. Finally, I just will add that a random fact that came out of 2023. Now, more than 10% of Japan's population is at least 80 years old. It's an
wow,
interesting fact. For the
that is
first time on record, at least 1 in 10 people in Japan is over the age of 80. There's an interesting, I think it was Elon Musk actually, again, that he made a quote about, because he's always talking about population and he's always saying that it's a myth that the population is growing. It's not, it's shrinking. And he's saying that that you have a problem in a country when you start buying more nappies for the adults than for the children. And that's probably the case in Japan because they have the birth rate is just yeah, they're not having kids anymore. People are choosing not to have kids.
that's a
Um,
shame.
yeah, it's the lowest rate since the country began keeping records in 1899. That's strange, isn't it? They only started keeping records in 1899.
Mm,
So there's 125 million people, and it has the world's oldest population.
mm,
Strange time. So I suppose that maybe we'll see more data like that in 2024. I know there's a similar situation here in Spain, but a lot of that data is skewed by immigration because there are more young people coming in from elsewhere, but the native population is shrinking or aging,
mm,
I should say.
mm, mm.
Yeah,
I've got a couple just quickly to mention.
go on.
I was on holiday in Greece in July. Uh, Woke up to the news that the aliens were here.
Yeah.
Uh, David Grush, who was a former intelligence officer and United States Air Force officer, went to like the U.S. Subcommittees uh, for national security and revealed that he's known about all these aliens for ages.
Hmm.
And we were vaguely trying to keep up with it whilst we were on holiday. And what Sharon especially found interesting was that straight away they were working out ways to kill the aliens
Yeah, yeah.
rather than do anything else. It
Get
wasn't
rid of
like,
him.
oh, yeah,
Coming over here, stealing our jobs.
yeah, maybe we should talk to them. No, let's just nuke them as quickly as possible. So I'm quite pleased about this. He might be a nutter. I don't know. It still seems inconclusive in proof. But again, sort of by the time I got back from holiday, it wasn't on the news anymore, was it? It just
Hmm.
disappeared,
Well,
swept under the carpet.
there was a whole investigation that took place, and the FBI. There were various people that under oath that were forced to answer direct questions, whereby they did admit that the U.S. government has interacted with and has had access to off-world technology. I don't know if you saw those quotes. They're from military officials. But what the thing that annoys me is the image on screen at the moment. So it's like it's in 2023. I've got a camera with like the most powerful zoom and like the technology on my phone that is like I couldn't even imagine when I was a kid. How can they not get a decent bloody photograph of these things?
I know it's
It
nuts,
takes the
isn't it? Like,
piss.
You can take a photo of a planet like
Yeah.
millions of miles away, but like a little spaceship. I don't know. I believe in aliens. I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to
me
them
too. I
becoming
hope they're
my
nice. Um,
overlord.
I actually, because I was going to talk about the aliens as well. I've just got another thing that I'd add to that because later on, this story didn't finish in September. Um, this guy in Mexico, a scientist in Mexico, presented an alien body. Look at
What?
that! And
Good
it's
God.
ridiculous. It was a part of the same trial that was going on in the US, and I was really excited about it because I read the title before I saw the images, and then I saw the images, and it's like again, it's the same thing like with the cameras. Like we're in 2023. You're gonna see an alien corpse, and it's like the worst fake toy alien corpse that you could possibly. It's the kind of thing that I would have made out of plasticine when I was a kid. Like, and it's tiny. Look at that. But
Yeah.
they've done DNA tests. They've done tests on these, and they say that they are organic and they are real, and that they're
What?
and that the biological makeup is not of this world. Um, but I mean, why does it have to look so stupid?
I
Look at
reckon
that.
I
It's
reckon I could take that alien in a fight.
it's tiny. Why is it so
Hold on,
small?
I'm trying to work out the scale of it. Is it small?
Well, look, there's a hand reaching in the corner
Yeah,
there.
but how close is the hand to him? I don't know.
No, I saw some other photos. It is quite small. I'd say
Uh,
it's probably a little bit smaller than me, but it is. It doesn't look. It looks like kind of fossilized. I don't know where it was. It was found in the earth. I think at a crash site. But there's loads of information about all of this stuff. What I find funny is that the media has spent the last 100 years talking about aliens as like it's a taboo topic that if you mention it, you're a nutter, right? You're instantly a
yeah,
nutter, right? And now there's a lot of stories that are coming out there saying, oh, actually, and the one that you mentioned is a good example of that because there are military officials saying, yeah, we have had contact with these
mm,
devices, these machines they're not from here, they're from somewhere else. They changed the name of them as well. They stopped calling them UFOs. They started calling them
yeah. Like
UAPs, was it, I think?
uh,
Um, I think it's,
anomalies. Oh, I forget.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
UAOs.
the
Yeah,
the vocabulary around it has changed, and I think that's significant because then they're not talking about them. Oh yeah, that's it. UAP, unexplained anomalous phenomena.
yes.
There's no need for them to have done that. So I don't know. It makes me a little bit suspicious. I think that they've been around for a while. I think that the government knows about it, and I think that it's been a very controlled release of the information because they don't want to freak people out. I think they're trying to get us
Mm.
comfortable with the idea that they can exist. So when they do finally absolutely say, yeah, it's true, people don't go nuts and start eating toilet paper like they did in COVID. Because yeah, I mean, with COVID is a good example. People don't really deal with strange scenarios very well. The toilet paper phenomenon being exactly that. Yeah, is there anything else that happened in 2023? No.
No, I think
Yeah.
that'll do us. Won't it? Yeah, I mean King Charles. I was going to mention, but I'm sick of his sausage fingers. Just think it's 230 million pounds that cost. Uh, yeah.
What did?
So
What
the
is?
coronation,
Oh, really?
allegedly. Yeah. Yeah. So they
Who,
reckoned it was going to be between 50 and 100 million. It was 230 million.
who
So
paid for that? You did.
yeah, mostly I reckon.
Taxpayers.
But no, it was a pretty good year. Some highlights for me. Honestly, this podcast has been one. I've really enjoyed this so far.
Oh.
It's been nice. I got engaged. That was very lovely, and we're looking forward to that in the summer. What else has been a highlight? Honestly, me sort of talking to Matt, a month ago on
Yeah,
here,
that was a good
and
chat.
yeah, I've got into the gym. I'm enjoying that. Work's been all right. You know, yeah, it wasn't a bad year, man.
It was a good year, and certainly in reflection of the previous ones, which were shit. So let's just say onwards and upwards. 2024, I think a lot of crazy stuff is going to go down, but I'm not really concerned about that. We can only control the things that are within our field of influence. So I'm sure there'll be lots of natural disasters and pandemics and cyber attacks and alien invasions and all of that wonderful stuff. But the focus is to take control of our immediate sphere of influence and not be fat wobbly blobs on the sofa.
Right, yeah, let's try that. Let's just
Do it.
All right, lovely show.
Excellent. Right, well, happy new year, and good luck with your resolutions. I'll be checking in with you every couple of hours, and I'm sure it's going to be a good one. Lots to look forward to.
Yeah, I might be outside your door tomorrow morning. You never know.
Bloody new.
Hi, buddy.
Love you, bye. I love you, bye.
Medically